Dear students, in this session we are going to discuss stores accounting procedures. In this video you will be able to learn about the basic concept of stores accounting, purpose and merits of stores accounting, classification and codification system of materials, stores recording and documents which are used, purpose, methods and procedures for verification of the stores, costing of materials used and valuation of stocks in. Now let us understand what is store accounting. So store accounting basically is the mathematical process which reveals the quantity, quality and value of stores carried out or preserved in storehouse on a given date relating to the specific period. It is the process of recording details of stock and whatever the balance in value. So what are the purposes of store accounting? One of the most important purpose is to keep record of different materials received in store. Keeping record of all issues of the materials, it indicates the value of stocks held. It should provide the basis for determining the issue rates, to provide protection against stock out situations or overstocking situations, risk of loss due to fluctuation in the prices, deteriorations, obsolescence and high carry cost, selection of poor quality of materials, duplicate ordering. These are to be avoided. So store accounting very important role providing protection against these kind of situations. Next is the settlement of claims from insurance companies in case of theft, fire, damages, etc. Then detection, localization and prevention of waste becomes very easy if the store accounting is done properly. So better control can be facilitated. Proper and complete record of all received issues and balances are ensured. Actual stock verification process becomes less expensive. Efficient and economic storeroom operation achieved. It also exerts moral check on the staff. In general, in materials planning and control, this is a general flow of the materials that after purchasing material it is being received, stored and stock taking takes place and then finally issue of the materials is done. So in order to facilitate store accounting practices, there are various documents or records are used right from the receipt till the issue of the materials. In case of receipt of materials, material receipt book, material receipt note, daily receipt voucher, damage or shortage excess report, package slip, bin card, stock ledger, stock identification card. Here I would like to mention the bin card and stock ledger. A bin card is basically the document which basically is used to record the status of the inventory or materials. It reflects the receiving of materials, issue of the materials, the quantity which are in the stocks, and for every transaction the record is being kept. So bin card is basically facilitates the proper information about the materials which are there in the stock. Though there is a card which is attached with the bin. So bin contains the material and also bin provides a card that reflects the status of the inventory. Stock ledger is basically for store accounting purposes used. It reflects the quantities of materials which have been received, how much it has been issued, to which departments, and basically the all kind of the characteristic materials are being also reflected in stock ledger. But bin card basically reflects the quantities only. Second is the inspection of materials. In case of inspecting the materials, these are the documents kept like purchase order, daily receipt voucher, inspection note, rejection note, bin card, stock identification card, stock ledgers. In case of issuing materials like materials acquisition slip, bin card, gate pass, stock ledger, stores advice note, verification of stores. There are following documents like stock taking sheet, stock valuation sheet, bin card, materials transfer note, materials return note, stock ledger. Next is materials control. It contains document like stock day sheet, stock ledger card. So in order to facilitate the efficient store accounting practices, the classification of materials are done. So there are two ways by which materials are classified. One is general, another is based on the condition. So in general classification, we know the materials can be classified as raw materials, purchase component, work in progress, finished goods, spares, consumers, machinery, equipment, inflammables, chemicals, furnitures, general stores, scrap materials, packaging materials, fuel stocks. In case of classification according to condition, so these are classified as a serviceable, unserviceable and obsolete stores. Serviceable means the materials which can be repaired and their lives can be extended. Unserviceable, which cannot be repaired at all and has been fully utilized. Obsolete stores, which because of the invent of new materials or new items, the existing items become redundant and is of no use. Similarly, we have got finished and semi-finished stores. Dead stock items. Dead stock items are those items which are actually kept lying idle, have not been sold out for a long period of time. So basically, it is regarded as a dead stock items. You can say it is a non-moving or almost non-moving items in the stores. And next is the unused stocks. Next is a codification. Once as a classification of the materials done, codification of material is to be done. So codification actually helps in avoiding any kind of long and unwieldy description. It provides accurate and logical identification. It prevents any duplication. It facilitates standardization of the items, reduces varieties, it helps in achieving efficiency in purchasing process. It provides efficiency in recording and accounting practices. It simplifies and facilitates mechanical recording, facilitate pricing and costing, assure correct and efficient inspection. It also assures the production as planned and required. So there are 6 kind of codification systems which are very much popular. One is known as alphabetical, numerical, then decimal, then combined alphabetical numerical system, bridge and codex system. Let us take the example of alphabetical system, where you can see that there's a categories of raw materials and like stainless steel products and all. So under raw material, if the iron is a category of raw material, so iron ore, iron pig, iron melted, iron bright. So IN can be written in alphabet IN, and then every subcategories of the iron can be denoted by O, P, the first letter of the subcategories. So this is the alphabetical system. Next is numerical, where numeric figure is being used to classify the items. Next is a decimal codification, where numerical values is being used also. Instead of using dash, as you can see in case of numerical system, dash is used to separate out the subcategories in the classification codification. So in case of decimal, the dot or decimal value is being used to go for the further sub classification or for sub to sub classifications. Combined, when we say the system, it is alphabetical and numerical mixed combined system, where like sulfur is a one category, so sulfuric, so SP could be the one category as alphabetical can use, and subcategories can be used like numbers like 11, 12, 13 for sulfuric acid oxide, sulfurous oxide, like this. Next is the Kodak system, which is also very popular. It was originated by Eastman Kodak Company of New York, USA. It assimilates all good points of the other system. In place of decimal, generally hyphens are used for breaking up the numbers into varying groups of digits. Preliminary classification based on purchase category rather than the nature, use and characteristics. So this system follows a 10-digit numerical code. The composition is in 3 groups. You can see first category 3, then 4 and then 3. To work out this system, a basic classification of all items is made. So first 2 digits for the basic or preliminary categories, maybe 00 to 20 is given for raw materials, 21 to 35 is given for machine and mechanical departments. So this is the first 2 digits. Then next 2 digits is subclass code. So within the same kind of materials, so tanks, pumps, mixers, packaging. So these can be given the numbers under subcategory. And then finally third sub to subcategories can be given as far as the material. So this way, and 4th step, you can provide the categories or the type of the materials. And finally, it can be reflected as, suppose there is a chemical product with acid and sulfuric acid type B, onion. So this is 53 to 68 group, it will fall. And then acid is a 60, sulfuric acid like that. So stores must be marked, materials which have been received, being stored must be marked with certain colors, using certain color scheme. Now next is very important in the store accounting procedure is the verifications. The purpose of verification is to examine the correctness of stock records maintained, to examine the correctness of the value of the stock, appearing the balance sheet at the close of the year, to detect the fraud, theft, loss, deviation from the procedure, to examine the process of storage and control of stock, to point out the weaknesses, if any, and suggest improvements, to have moral check on staff of the stores department. There are 2 popular methods of store verification. One is annual or periodical store verification, and second is a perpetual or continuous store verification. So annual or periodical store verification usually covers the whole of stock at the same time of given period, usually at the end of financial year. So inspection is done at the only once in a year. So verifying officer has to submit the report about shortage, excess or damages, surplus, obsolete and unserviceable material. Basically it is simple and convenient. It checks all of the items at one time, so all discrepancies are known collectively. There is a limitation that basically it is suitable for more of the small storehouses. This operation causes complete stoppages of intake outflow of materials during the counting process. All the discrepancies detected once in a given period only. A very little time is available for thorough and sufficient investigation. The preparation of final accounts and balance sheet may be delayed due to non-completion of formality of stores verification in time, because this verification may take longer duration, and because of longer duration the operations may get stopped, so it may delay the various other processes. So these are the limitation of annual or periodical store verification. If you look at the perpetual or continuous store verification, it ensures the physical verification stocks at least once, not maximum once, that in case of annual periodical store verification. So verification is done by personnel conversant with the classification, nomenclatures and the techniques of the stores to be verified, and the ARC working occupying the senior position. The result of all verification stocks should be reported to. The book balance is to be set right by verifying officer, who treats surplus as a receipt and this deficit as an issue with suitable remark. So there are certain merits of perpetual and continuous store verification. It is convenient for medium to large storehouses. There is no need to close down the storeroom operation while store verification is in progress, because the scale of the verification is very small. So normal operation of receipt, issues, records, etc. continued uninterruptedly. So no need of recruiting additional staff for store verification. As stock taking is done throughout the year, discrepancies are promptly detected, providing sufficient time for the thorough investigation. So final account can be completed without any delay, and valuation of stock for the balance sheet purposes can be taken reliable. So what are the various procedures for store verification? First is chalking out the plan, the program for verification, then appointment of a team of verifiers. The team then is provided stock taking sheet duly serialized and dated. The stock noted by the team is physically checked and verified, and discrepancies noted down. Thereafter the valuation is done and sent to accounts department with necessary certificates and the reports. Let us understand valuation of stock. This is very important in case of stock accounting procedure. Valuation stock, how it is to be done? There are various methods available for valuation of stock, and the certain principle is being followed, which we also call as a matching principle for valuation. According to matching principle, the expenses during an accounting period should match the income earned during the accounting period. Because the goods are continuously bought and sold, the amount of inventories that should be carried forward to the next accounting period should be determined, so that current year's revenue or income is matched with the current year's cost of goods sold. So what is the cost of goods sold? This is nothing but the opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. So if there is any error in the valuation of inventory, it will affect not only the current year's profit but also next year's profit, because the closing stock of current year is opening stock of the next year. So when we see the valuation of stocks, so generally accepted accounting principle, inventory should be valued at the cost. The cost refers to the cost of acquisition plus cost of conversion, depending upon the type of inventory you are carrying. So what are the costing methods available for inventory? Like FIFO, LIFO, weighted average cost and specification methods. So in case of FIFO, it is assumed that stock received first is consumed or sold first. Therefore, the stock at hand at the end of year is from the latest purchase. In case of LIFO, it is assumed that last units purchased are consumed or sold first. Therefore, the stock at hand at the end of year is from the earliest purchases. In case of weighted average cost, after every year purchase, every purchase, an average cost is computed from the cost of purchases and cost of stock. This method tries to even out the effect of price fluctuations. And specific identification method is that this method determines the specific cost for each unit in stock. This method is suitable when stock is not in homogeneous, less in quantity, high in value. Let us understand each method, especially WAC, LIFO and FIFO methods. So in weighted average cost method, suppose the inventory has been received on April 1, purchase as on date April 1 is 160 units and the cost was $10. So amounting $1,600. So on April 6th, the purchase was made. On April 25th, purchase was made. So goods available for the sale is 1,000 units. and then on hand April is 440 units. In this case, the cost of goods available for sale divided by units available for sale will be deciding about the average unit cost. So 12,700 upon 1,000 units will be the 12.7.0. This is average unit cost. So ending inventory can be calculated at the rate of 12.7. So 440 on hand multiplied by 12.7 will give you 5,588. This is weighted average cost method. So the cost of good available for sale is 12,700 less April 30 inventory, that is 5,588. So cost of goods sold is 7,112. Next is the first in first out method. It assumes that first unit purchase will be first unit sold. Ending inventory is priced using most recent purchase. You can see same data, and when you are calculating the costing using FIFO method, so 440 units are in hand. So for last units which have been purchased 400 units at the rate of 14, so it will valued as 5,600. Then 40 units remaining valued at 12.5. You can see in the data in the table, then it comes out as a 5,000, and 440 units of a cost of 6,100. So the cost of goods sold available is same as 12,700. Now you are subtracting less as of April 30 inventory, that is 6,100. So cost of goods sold is 6,600. Next is a last in first out. Their ending inventory is priced using the earliest purchases. So you are using the same data to demonstrate LIFO. So if you look at on hand 440 units, so ending inventory is priced using the earliest purchases. So in order to come out 440 units, you will start with the first purchase, that is 160 units valued at 10. So finally 1,600. 280 units remaining, so that will be 3,500 coming. So 440 units at a cost of 5,100. And the cost of goods sold for available again is 12,700. Less April 30 inventory is 5,100. Cost of goods sold is 7,600. Now you can see that how these three methods impact, or the four methods impact on the gross margin. You can see that gross margin in case of specific identification method is 2,760. Average cost method 2,888. In case of first in first out, it is 3,400. And in case of last in first out, it is 2,400. Now when we see that the highest gross margin has occurred in case of FIFO and lowest in case of LIFO. So in times of declining prices, FIFO results in the lowest gross margin and LIFO results in the highest gross margin. So which is the best method for inventory valuation? So inventory valuation affects the profit and loss account as well as the balance sheet. So FIFO is more realistic inventory value but showing the unrealistic profit. LIFO is more realistic profit but outdated inventory value. WAC is the average of the two. Accounting standards does not allow to use LIFO. FIFO and WAC is most appropriately used. Under income tax law, any method may be adopted but it should be followed consistently. If you go back to the previous discussion on the explaining the FIFO, LIFO, the comparison, you can see that in case of rising prices, this may lead to overvaluation of stocks and overstatement of profits. And in case of falling prices, this method may lead to understatement of stocks and profit. When you are using LIFO, so in case of falling price, this may lead to overstatement of stock and profit. And in case of rising prices, this method leads to understatement of profit. So these are basically the classical differences which LIFO and FIFO are having, and there should be, so the valuation or costing of stocks should be done accordingly. So what is the cost and net realizable value? Whichever is low is selected. So though generally the inventories are valued at the cost, sometimes it may be prudent to value it's below the cost when the inventory has suffered a reduction in the value due to damage, deterioration, reduction in selling prices, obsolescence. So such loss is recognized by valuing inventory at the lower of the cost or net realizing value. So such method may be applied to all items on inventory or similar group of items. And next is stock reconciliation. Stock is taken at the end of accounting period. So if due to any reason stock is taken either before or after accounting period, then such stock has to be adjusted with the relevant transactions of purchases and sales to arrive at stock at the end of the account. So such computation is also known as a stock reconciliation. So students, in this session we discussed about the importance and objectives of stores accounting, various terms used in store accounting, classification, codification of materials, stock verification procedures, and stock valuation method. Store plays a very, very important role in smooth functioning of any industry. So a store accounting procedure is to be considered to be a very, very critical practice in order to have the better profitability and reduction in the cost of the operations. Thank you.